Don't jump. God is about to change your address. This isn't a coincidence. You didn't stumble upon this message by accident. The Lord has led you here on purpose. And if you've been feeling like something in your spirit is shifting, like you're on the edge of something new, you're right. This word is for you. In the Bible and Christian life. 1111 symbolizes God's divine alignment and spiritual awakening, often a heavenly signal that His truth is breaking through the darkness to protect and restore you. You might be looking at your bank account or your current circumstances and thinking, how is this possible? But let me remind you, God doesn't need your resources to make a way. He is the way. The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. The access to your fresh residence, your novel period, your renewed tranquility, it's already grasped in His palms. The sole inquiry is, are you prepared to accept it? This video unveils the truth. Someone's life is cursed forever for attempting witchcraft against you, but God's protection prevails. Join our global faith community. Comment on your city or country below and type 1111 to declare your trust in His divine shield. Hit the like button to spread this urgent message. Subscribe to stay anchored in heaven's guidance. And stay with me. Chosen one, for God is revealing His victory in your life today. Have you been feeling that quiet unrest deep in your soul, like your spirit is pacing even when your body is still? You lie in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep won't come. You move through your day with a sense that something's not right, that something must change, even though you can't yet define what that something is. That restlessness, that aching in your chest, that strange mixture of fear and anticipation. It is not anxiety. It is not imagination. It is the Holy Spirit preparing you. He is stirring your heart because He is preparing to move you physically, emotionally, spiritually into a place that aligns with the destiny He's written for your life. This is not about just moving houses. This is about God pulling you out of a place that has silently poisoned your peace, worn down your joy, and stolen the clarity of your prayers. There are seasons where God will allow us to stay in uncomfortable environments to grow us. But there are also moments, divine appointments, when God says, enough, you've suffered long enough. It's time to move forward. In Genesis chapter 12, God told Abram, go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. Abram had no map, no address, but he had a word from God. And because he obeyed, he stepped into the beginning of a promise that would bless generations. You may not have the full picture yet. You may not know where the money will come from, how the doors will open, or even what city you're supposed to end up in. But the word has gone out, and that's enough. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 confirms, certain individuals among you reside in dwellings that resemble battlefields. Tension hangs in the air. Unspoken bitterness lingers. Kids misbehave. Unions fracture beneath the burden of unexpressed agony. You enter your residence and sense oppression before even setting down your belongings. Some of you weep in the bath so nobody overhears. You grin in social settings, but you fear returning to your abode. You've implored for harmony, consecrated your entrances, ignited candles, broadcasted adoration tunes, and yet the environment stays electrified. That isn't typical, that is otherworldly, and the Almighty is revealing it because He is poised to rescue you from it. There was a woman who reached out after surviving years in a house where everything broke down, appliances, relationships, even her health. She said, I felt like the house itself was rejecting me. One day, while praying in her living room, she felt the Spirit say, you weren't meant to build roots here. This is a place of passage, not a promise. Within weeks, she was offered a housing opportunity she hadn't even applied for. Today, She lives in peace, and the migraines she used to suffer daily have never returned. This is what happens when God moves you out of oppression and into order. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm chapter 34, verse 18 mentions, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows." Psalm chapter 23, verse 5 reveals, "This upcoming location the Almighty is arranging for you will not bear the remnants of your previous injuries. You will not cross its thresholds with the identical loads. The environment will be pure because the Almighty Himself is purifying the area. There will be mirth once more, genuine, profound chuckles. There will be quietude, not from strain, but from repose. You will awaken and at last feel secure. You will stroll through your cooking area and feel grateful. The Almighty isn't merely altering your surroundings. He is mending the aspects of you that forgot what residence could mean like. But understand this transformation will not arrive via your effort, nor via your networks, nor via your reasoning. It will arrive via the essence. It will be abrupt, astonishing, and indisputable. One day you'll believe it's unattainable. The following you'll be endorsing documents. The Almighty doesn't operate on human schedules. He operates on belief and compliance, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord Almighty. Zechariah chapter 4 verse 6 proclaims, "Some of you have been stuck because you've mistaken familiarity for safety. You think, I've been here for years. I can make it work." But God never called you to survive. He called you to live, to thrive, to expand. Staying in a place God has already left is dangerous. When Saul disobeyed, God anointed David, but Saul still sat on the throne. Don't remain in a place just because it used to carry purpose. The grace for that season has lifted. The cloud is moving. And now God says, the key is in my hand. The home is already reserved. The space is prepared, not just to house you, but to bless you, restore you, and remind you of who you are in me. But before you take that step, you must believe. Believe that this word is yours. Believe that the ache in your spirit is holy. Believe that the same God who parted the sea, who fed Elijah with ravens, who raised Lazarus from the dead, that same God is arranging your breakthrough. I go to prepare a place for you. John chapter 14 verse 2 promises, "There exist residences that appear impeccable from the exterior. Serene roads, trimmed grass, gleaming surfaces, but what the eyes cannot detect, the essence can sense, to mortal comprehension. These spots seem reliable, practical, or even a gift. But to those whose otherworldly perceptions have been aroused, the reality grows clearer with each day. Not every residence is a haven, and not every ceiling is a sanctuary. Some locations were never intended for you, and regardless of how much you adorn them or how long you linger, they will never hold the harmony the Almighty crafted for your existence. Many folks settle into houses during instances of desperation, following a deprivation, a heartbreak, or economic difficulty. In those vulnerable periods, choices are frequently made out of endurance, not capitulation. You may have agreed to a rental because you required shelter right away. Perhaps you consented to a relocation because it seemed like the optimal choice available then. But just because a spot offered you protection doesn't mean it was arranged by the essence of the Almighty. And now you're starting to perceive it. You attempt to supplicate, but the terms feel burdensome. You recline, but repose won't arrive. You grin for others, but inwardly you're diminishing. What you're detecting isn't merely emotional exhaustion. It's an otherworldly resistance. The blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it. Proverbs chapter 10 verse 22 explains, God never intended for you to simply exist behind four walls. He desires for you to flourish. He created you for peace, joy, and divine presence. not for silent suffering in a place that drains your spirit day after day. If God's Spirit is not dwelling where you live, then you're not truly at home. You're just enduring time in a space that was never anointed for your future. Then to the place the Lord your God will choose as a dwelling for His name. There you are, to bring everything I command you. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 11, instructs. This signifies the Almighty has a particular spot selected for you, a spot distinguished where His name is exalted and His existence is sensed from the instant you enter. If your present location wasn't selected by the Almighty, no quantity of optimistic reasoning, residence enhancement, or sacred ceremonies will make it genuinely serene. The otherworldly burden will persist because harmony isn't fabricated, it's accommodated, and only the Almighty can dispatch it. Some of you have pondered why your existence feels halted, why your funds evaporate, why your connections are tense, why every advance seems to disintegrate. The adversary recognizes the strength of the domain. He recognizes that when the Almighty's existence isn't invited in a residence, that dwelling becomes susceptible to suppression, to bewilderment, to inexplicable dispute. You've been attempting to construct an existence in a spot the Almighty never bestowed His approval, and now He's unveiling your vision to it. There are homes carrying invisible scars, spiritual residue from the past, stories of broken families, violence, betrayal, addiction, or even occult activity. Even if the furniture is new and the walls are painted bright, those spiritual marks remain. They're embedded in the foundation. Have you ever walked into a space and instantly felt pressure in your chest or a strange discomfort, even though you couldn't explain why? That's spiritual contamination, and it's real. You're not imagining it. You're discerning it. When you enter the land of Canaan, which I give you as a possession, and I put a mark of mildew in a house, then the priest shall go in and examine the house. Leviticus chapter 14, verses 34 through 35 describes, the Almighty Himself permitted physical indicators of otherworldly impurity in the residences of His people so they wouldn't linger in spots that harbored concealed perils. Some residences today bear indicators that can't be seen with the vision, but are completely known to the Almighty. Residences where entrances bang without breeze. Odd sounds resonate at night. Illnesses endure without cause, or discord erupts without reason. These are not happenstances. They are indications, displays of a profound problem. One lady shared her account. She had unwittingly relocated into a residence where a prior occupant engaged in sorcery. Over time, her rest routines altered, her youngster became isolated, and her spouse grew sentimentally remote. They quarreled over matters that didn't count. The household started disintegrating gradually without any apparent cause until they uncovered the otherworldly background of the residence. When they eventually relocated, everything started to transform. Harmony came back. Lucidity returned. Her son began chuckling again. That wasn't happening. It was the Almighty renewing them in a fresh, sanctified area. God is not trying to frighten you. He is awakening you. He sees what you cannot. He knows what happened on that land before you ever stepped foot on it. And today He is saying clearly, this is not your home. I am pulling you out. You've prayed, fasted, worshipped. You've played praise music and anointed the walls. But if the foundation is cursed, peace cannot grow there. And now heaven has issued a divine order. Move, I've prepared a new place for you. Arise and go to the land that I will show you. Acts chapter 7 verse 3 commands, you won't have to search endlessly. The right door will open. A proposal will come. An unexpected opportunity. A connection. A key in your hand that you never asked for, but heaven orchestrated it. It won't come by your striving. It will come by God's hand. But you must take action in faith. You must stop calling home what God has already rejected. You must speak out loud and say, Lord, if this house does not please you, get me out of here. Lead me to the place where you dwell. I don't want to survive anymore. I want to live where you are. Better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere. Psalm chapter 84 verse 10 expresses, "Presently, something is altering in the essence. It's not merely communication, it's a heavenly proclamation. The Almighty is liberating residences from bondage and unlocking fresh commencements for His folks. This isn't merely emblematic. It's not a figure of speech. It is actual, concrete, and already underway, even at this moment. As you heed, celestial beings are advancing ahead of you, not as guests, but as emissaries dispatched from paradise with precise directives. They are clearing the path to your subsequent residence, eliminating obstacles, quieting resistance, and readying the area where you will advance into repose, liberty, and sacred harmony. See, I am sending an angel ahead of you to guard you along the way and to bring you to the place I have prepared." Exodus chapter 23 verse 20 assures, "This is not wishful thinking. The house exists. It has an address. Walls that will carry peace, rooms where the atmosphere is drenched in light, and a threshold that marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of another." In a vision, I saw an angel gently placing a key into someone's hand. Not just a key made of metal, but a key forged in the spirit, a key that represented authority, timing, and promise, a key that opens not just doors, but destinies. You may be asking, "But how? Lord, I have no money, no opportunity, no way forward." And heaven replies, "You will not need man to open this door, because I, the Lord, am the one who opens and no one can shut. What He opens, no one can shut, and what He shuts, no one can open." Revelation chapter 3 verse 7 testifies, "Just as the Almighty dispatched His celestial messenger to direct Israel through the desert toward the assured territory, He is currently sending His envoys to accompany you out of this territory of distress and guide you into an area of tranquility, restoration, and renewed perspective. This upcoming residence isn't merely about protection, it's about existence, the Almighty's existence. His designation will depend on it. His essence will inhabit it. His splendor will saturate it. The cause you've been under such intense strain recently, the abrupt postponements, the sentimental weariness, the unforeseen disputes, is because the underworld recognizes what paradise is poised to unleash. Do you genuinely believe the foe is going to permit you to enter a residence filled with the splendor of the Almighty without opposition? Naturally not. He's been initiating assaults, planting dread, and murmuring falsehoods. You can't finance it. Nobody will assist you. You're not adequate. It won't occur to you. But these are nothing more than the concluding bursts of a vanquished opponent. For the Lord Almighty has purposed, and who can thwart Him? His hand is stretched out, and who can turn it back? Isaiah chapter 14 verse 27. Questions. The shift that's coming wasn't your idea. It was God's decision, long before you asked for it. He wrote your new address in the heavens. He's already provided the resources. He's already stirred the hearts of the right people. He's already canceled the assignments of every doubting voice. The enemy may try to block documents, delay decisions, or stir confusion, but none of it will succeed. A territorial spirit has tried to keep you bound in this current place, but that spirit has already been overthrown. God has sent His angels, like He did with Joshua, to draw swords in the Spirit and fight on your behalf. Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation? Hebrews chapter 1 verse 14 reminds, the conflict is genuine. The opposition has been otherworldly, but the triumph has already been endorsed in blood. Sealed by the designation above all designations, you will gather your belongings. You will endorse the documents. You will cross a threshold into a location sanctified for the Almighty's splendor. And I perceive it even at this moment in the essence. I perceive you entering that residence not merely stepping, but sobbing. Not out of dread, but from alleviation. Your knees feel weak. Your heart is firm. Your soul murmuring. He accomplished it. He truly extracted me. And when you conduct your initial assembly there, When you elevate your voice in adoration in that sitting room or on that front veranda, paradise will resound with delight. The residence won't merely be a gift for you. It will be an account of the loyalty of the Almighty. So do not vacillate. Do not heed dread. Do not submit to despondency. Maintain your belief. Maintain your supplications ignited. Maintain your reliance steadfast. The righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all. Psalm chapter 34, verse 19, guarantees. The time has come. You will leave this house, not just a physical space, but the atmosphere that has chained your spirit for far too long. God is not simply relocating you. He is rescuing you. He is pulling you out of a territory that has drained your joy, sabotaged your growth, and buried your promise. This isn't just about moving. It's about breaking every invisible chain that's kept you spiritually, emotionally, financially, and relationally stuck. These aren't chains made of metal, but they're heavier than steel. They come in the form of fear, doubt, discouragement, debt, shame, and emotional attachment. And today, the Lord of hosts is declaring they will be broken. Have you noticed how every time you try to move forward, something falls apart? A sudden crisis arises. A discouraging word comes from someone close. An unexpected bill appears. You were ready to take a step, and the floor crumbled beneath you. That isn't a coincidence. It's warfare. The enemy has fought to keep you in a territory where your gifts shrink and your faith is suffocated. But why does he fight so hard? Because he knows what happens when you leave. He knows the moment you step out, your family begins to heal, your mind finds peace, your purpose reignites, your calling comes alive. He brought them out of darkness and the shadow of death and broke their chains in pieces. Psalm chapter 107 verse 14 recounts, "The adversary has employed remorse to make you sense undeserving, dread to make you sense insecure, and shortage to make you sense incapable. He's attempted to inform you this is as fine as it becomes. But the Almighty never summoned you to compromise. The Almighty never instructed you to endure in spots He never appointed. And today the Almighty is not merely murmuring, He is ordering your liberation. There is a fresh residence. Yes, but more than that, a fresh domain, and it bears 3 heavenly hallmarks. First, harmony, not the lack of clamor, but the existence of the Almighty. You'll enter and your essence will inhale. The identical harmony that descended upon the followers when Jesus uttered, "Peace be still." Mark chapter 4 verse 39 recalls, "It will rest on your new walls. You'll sleep through the night. You'll wake up with clarity. Arguments will cease. Children will laugh again. The atmosphere will no longer suffocate. It will heal. It will feel like entering holy ground because it is." Second, prosperity. Not worldly excess, but divine supply. God is shifting you from a house of survival to a house of stability. Bills will be paid with ease. Opportunities will knock without striving. You won't wonder where the money went. It will multiply because the soil is blessed. The same God who made Joseph prosper in Pharaoh's house will make you flourish even in unfamiliar places. The Lord blesses the home of the righteous. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 33 verifies, and ultimately, existence. This will be the authentic indicator. You will detect it the instant you arrive. Supplications will stream like fluid. Adoration will ascend like fragrance. Every time you unfold your Bible, the terms will spring off the sheet and into your core. Your residence will transform into a shrine. Guests will enter and utter, "There's something unique here," and you'll recognize the Almighty resides here. This residence isn't a fantasy. It's already constructed, already safeguarded, already booked, and yes, it will require a wonder to reach there. But don't overlook. The Almighty is not constrained by your finances. He is not restricted by your financial rating or your earnings. The identical Almighty who dispatched quail and manna in the desert, who supplied oil for the widow in 2 Kings chapter 4, who extracted coin from a fish's mouth to pay a temple tax in Matthew chapter 17 verse 27. That identical Almighty is your supplier today. You don't need to manipulate the outcome. You don't need to stress over every dollar. The Almighty already planned the miracle that will carry the weight of this move. It might come through a debt canceled, a client who surprises you, a sudden inheritance, a case settled in your favor, or a new opportunity that falls into your lap. It may look impossible today, but in a blink, you'll be holding the key. And God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. Emphasizes, and this move, it is good work. It is redemption. It is the fulfillment of a word spoken over you long ago. Maybe when you were still living with your parents, or struggling in a season of lack, or sitting quietly in someone else's house whispering to yourself, "Lord, one day, please." Maybe it was just a passing thought, a silent dream, but God heard it and He never forgot. Remember the story of Sarah. She laughed when God said she'd have a child in her old age. But when the promise came to pass, her laughter turned into joy. Genesis chapter 21 verse 6 illustrates, that's what your relocation will feel like. Mirth through sobs, knees striking the ground, a murmured, "I can't believe this is actual." But it will be actual. That fresh residence is more than a structure. It's a visionary accomplishment. It's where restoration will establish, where heritage will be renewed, where adoration will ascend and wonders will be generated. You won't merely enter a fresh residence, you'll enter a fresh period. Maintain your belief firm. Maintain proclaiming, "My monetary wonder has already been unleashed. My residence is approaching." Before you advance into your assured residence, into the spot flowing with harmony and sustenance, there's something holy the Almighty is requesting of you. You must abandon something behind. This is not a recommendation. It's a heavenly mandate, because what's approaching is sacred, and not everything you've borne can accompany you. The shift isn't merely physical, it's otherworldly, sentimental, and profoundly individual. And if you attempt to haul the old into the new, you risk tainting what was intended to be pristine. The fresh residence is not merely a change of location. It's a fresh period, a heavenly rendezvous in time. But just like Israel couldn't advance into the assured land until Egypt was extracted from their cores, you too must undergo a desert instant, a cleansing of what no longer aligns with the Almighty's blueprint for your fate. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Isaiah chapter 43 verses 18 through 19 announces, sometimes the weights are subtle, old griefs you swore you were over, quiet shame that still haunts you, memories of a broken season that have grown roots in your thinking, beliefs that whisper, "I'll never have more than this," that you're unworthy, that change is for other people, not for you. These lies are chains. They are spiritual clutter, and they cannot pass through the door God is about to open. There are also people you love, but who drain your spirit, people who mock your vision, belittle your faith, or manipulate your emotions, people who are only meant to walk with you for a season, but you've made them permanent fixtures. When God called Gideon, He had to reduce his army, not enlarge it, because fewer faithful people can accomplish more than a crowd without vision. Judges chapter 7 details. Who you walk with matters. Some doors are too narrow for you to carry everyone through. Do two walk together unless they have agreed to do so? Amos chapter 3 verse 3 asks. And occasionally, it's tangible. Furnishings that retain the aroma of anguish. Mementos from a period of deprivation. Garments from an era when you didn't recognize your value. Items can bear otherworldly remnants. Releasing them isn't prodigal, it's visionary, it's declaring, "This no longer characterizes me." Recall Lot's spouse. Her core stayed in Sodom, so her form could not advance. She glanced back and transformed to salt. Genesis chapter 19 verse 26 warns, "Letting go will sting. It will feel like a loss, but it is actually the beginning of freedom." The Holy Spirit is already whispering what you need to release. Ask Him. He will show you. Be brave. Be obedient, because the next door opens to those whose hands are empty enough to receive the key. You may be wondering, why hasn't it happened yet? I've prayed, I've fasted, I've received prophetic words, and yet you're still in the same house. The door opens part way, then slams shut. A window cracks open, then closes. A breakthrough feels near, then vanishes. This isn't punishment, it's preparation. The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, and the Lord tests hearts. Proverbs chapter 17 verse 3 teaches, "Before the Almighty presents you the access to your fresh residence, He's examining the state of your core. Are you rooted in belief even when nothing stirs? Can you still adore while the barriers haven't moved? Do you still rely on Him when quietude fills the space? This is your Abraham instant. The Almighty informed him in Genesis chapter 12 verse 1, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." Not the land I've shown you, the land I will show you. Abraham had to relocate with nothing but a pledge. And so do you. Some gifts are postponed, not because the Almighty altered His opinion, but because He cherishes you too much to grant you something you're not prepared to maintain. How many individuals have obtained the very thing they implored for only to forfeit it because their personality wasn't ready? The Almighty is too loyal to let that be your narrative. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6 stresses, "And pleasing God is the greatest accelerator of promise there is." So if everything feels silent, if it seems like heaven has paused, it means you're in the final part of the test. You're closer than you think. The documents are shifting in the Spirit. The keys are already in the angel's hand. But the release is reserved for those who stay faithful, grateful, and ready in the waiting. So now ask yourself, what must I let go of to move forward? What belief, what fear, what habit, what weight, what relationship, what memory, what object needs to be left behind? This isn't just about moving house. This is about stepping into destiny. You are positioned at the brink of a sacred pivot. Not a minor alteration, not a relaxed passage, but an otherworldly alteration that will cascade across your existence and into the existence of all linked to you. The Almighty is gazing at your core at this moment and murmuring, "Your belief delights me. Your moment is nearly here." You may feel fatigued, extended, unsure, but make no error. You are nearer than you've ever been. This isn't merely about an alteration of location. This is about an otherworldly readjustment, a reboot for your whole family. What the Almighty is arranging will not merely affect you, it will influence your partner, your offspring, your guardians, even those in your kin who don't trust yet. When the Almighty alters the position of a loyal devotee, He also alters the environment. His existence commences to linger not only over the residence but through the corridors of the core. "But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Joshua chapter 24 verse 15. Vows. That declaration isn't poetic, it's prophetic. When you walk into the new home God has prepared, that scripture will come alive in your walls. Conversations will change, relationships will soften, hearts will open. Maybe right now your marriage feels like it's hanging by a thread. Conversations are cold. Silence is heavy. Maybe your children feel distant, lost in their own world, their peace disturbed. Maybe your parents are weighed down, or there's been strife between siblings, or a loneliness no one sees. And you've asked God again and again, Can anything really fix this? Yes, but not by human hands, by obedience. The breakthrough doesn't come from bricks or mortar. It comes from following the voice of the Lord. When He declares, relocate, He's not only modifying your perspective, He's modifying the very otherworldly weather of your existence. The fresh residence will be otherworldly pristine, devoid of the conflict and injuries that have adhered to your present area. It will be the origin point for renewal. You'll witness your partner enter the fresh residence and utter, "It feels distinct here." You'll witness your youngster chuckle again, repose calmly, cease awakening with unease. You'll witness guardians who visit depart lighter than when they arrived, because the existence of the Almighty will be there, infusing every chamber. But before you advance into that pledge, the Almighty is summoning you to ready, not just with containers and schemes, but with supplication and capitulation. Otherworldly alteration always demands otherworldly preparedness. This instant is larger than you imagine. What you bear into the subsequent period must be pristine, mended, and sanctified. Surely the Lord God does nothing without revealing His plan to His servants. The prophets. Amos chapter 3 verse 7 discloses, and God is already speaking, if you're discerning it in your spirit, if you felt it lately, like a stirring that won't let you rest, a feeling that your time in this place is ending. That's not imagination. That's the whisper of heaven. The environment around you is shifting. You look at your current home and realize, I can't stay here anymore. It's time. This is your moment of transition, and your preparation must match the weight of your promise. Begin with consecration. Don't just ask God for the new house. Dedicate it before it even arrives. Say aloud, Lord, the house you are preparing is yours. Let it be filled with your presence. Let your glory dwell there. Then move into focused fasting. Set aside time not to strive, but to hear. Fast for wisdom, provision, and clarity. Fasting clears out the noise so God can drop the instructions straight into your heart. What city? What door? What time? Journal everything. Write down dreams, numbers, names, streets, impressions. God may reveal the house in a vision, the neighborhood in a dream, or the moment of the turn through a whisper. Be sensitive, be attentive. The Holy Spirit is already talking, and maybe, most crucially, block out contrary opinions. You will be enticed to disclose the perspective with individuals who won't comprehend it. Don't. This pledge was not bestowed to them. It was bestowed to you. When Noah constructed the ark, it hadn't precipitated yet. When David gathered the rocks, Goliath was still upright. Belief doesn't seek approval, it complies. Nourish your anticipation. Maintain vigilance. Be prepared. The Almighty can alter your circumstance in a solitary day. One unanticipated telephone conversation, one proposal from nowhere, one entrance that swings wide open. And when that instant arrives, don't waver, relocate, comply, advance in, for still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3 prophesies, this is not a common change. It is not cosmetic. This is a God-authored relocation, and it will be marked by miracles that multiply long after the move. Your obedience now will bear fruit for generations. Your children will look back and say, that's when everything changed. So don't prepare with fear. Prepare with expectation. God says, I am coming with the greeting, and when He arrives, He brings keys in His hand. There is almost nothing left to wait for. The heavens are already in position, the preparations are complete, and the Lord is speaking clearly to your spirit. The key to your new door has already been reserved in your name. This isn't a figure of speech nor a lyrical emblem. It is an otherworldly actuality already inscribed in Paradise's schedule, already noted on the Almighty's chronology. Shut your eyes for an instant and visualize it, not just with your fantasy, but with your essence. Envision a serene road, unmarred by disorder, enveloped in tranquility. A celestial being strolls gradually down that road, grasping a key, not crafted of bronze or steel, but of pledge and radiance. Its luminescence does not originate from the sun, but from the term of the Almighty uttered over your existence. This key doesn't suit just any entrance. It's for one entrance, and one entrance solely the ingress to the spot the Almighty has particularly arranged for you. The celestial being arrives at the threshold and lingers. A voice booms softly from the seat. Deposit the key here. My offspring is nearly home. Yes, your key has already been unleashed. The residence is not hypothetical. It's not conceptual. Perhaps someday. It exists. It has barriers. A base, a ceiling that will protect delight, surfaces that will bear intent, openings that will admit harmony. It has been otherworldly designated to you. Your designation is inscribed on the portal, not in pigment, but in Paradise's everlasting writing. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation chapter 3 verse 8 asserts. This door is not just about opportunity, it is about inheritance, about walking into what was always yours but was being prepared in silence. Maybe you felt left out. Maybe you've wondered, did God forget me? Maybe you've seen others receive breakthroughs and thought, when will it be my turn? But God says today, I never forgot you. I've been working behind the scenes to set everything in perfect order. While you were waiting, God was working. He was gathering resources, assigning angels, preparing the timing, aligning people, protecting your path, fortifying the space. And now the key is on its way. Just as Noah didn't build an ark by luck, just as Moses didn't stumble upon the tablets, just as Solomon didn't build the temple without a pattern, you will not enter this next house by chance. You will enter it by covenant. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. Joshua chapter 1 verse 3 pledges, this pledge will not be reached because you merited it. It will reach because you trusted it, because you supplicated when there was no response, because you sobbed and still exalted, because you clung to optimism when others informed you it was time to surrender. Your quivering hands will grasp the key, and when you cross the threshold, you won't exclaim first. You'll collapse to your knees because you'll recognize only the Almighty could have accomplished this. The residence is genuine. The entrance is prepared. The key is close, and the wonder has already commenced. This is not just a new chapter. This is a new book, a new season, a new altar. This will be the house where restoration is poured out, where your family is renewed, where your soul will breathe again. It will be the physical manifestation of years of tears, intercession, and silent hopes, and you are closer than you think. Maybe your heart has gone quiet from waiting. Maybe you've stopped dreaming. Maybe you've become numb. But this message is your wake-up call. It's not a coincidence. This is a divine confirmation. God is whispering into your soul. I still have more. I'm not finished with your story. I'm not done moving on your behalf. So, maintain supplicating, maintain readying, maintain trusting, because at any instant, yes, even today, the telephone could chime, the documents could advance, the chance could erupt. What you foretold in belief will become the residence where you abide in reality. And when you enter it, you'll comprehend this is the residence the Lord constructed for me. As this communication concludes, I desire you to grasp something profoundly. This isn't merely a visionary term to arouse your sentiments. It's a heavenly summons to engage in what Paradise is already unleashing on your behalf. The Almighty is not merely speaking about a residence. He is speaking about your tomorrow, your kin, your belief, your liberty. He's discussing your harmony with his intent. This is about the space where your children will grow in peace, where your gifts will be activated, where your prayers will echo louder than your pain. This is about stepping into the land of promise, not just visiting it in your imagination. It's about seeing the physical manifestation of what your heart has longed for and your spirit has believed through seasons of silence, waiting, and warfare. And now, as you stand on the threshold of that promise, God isn't asking you to strive harder. He's asking you to believe deeper. He is calling you to prepare in the spirit so you can walk boldly into the physical. But faith isn't passive. Yes, this will be a move led by grace and orchestrated by divine power. But your faith must be active. Just as Noah constructed the ark before a droplet of precipitation descended. Just as Joshua paraded around Jericho before the barriers even trembled. Just as Mary uttered yes to the celestial being before she could perceive a wonder developing inside her. So you too must ready in the natural for what's arriving in the otherworldly. Commence with straightforward but holy deeds. Stroll through your present residence and commence to utter gifts over each chamber. Not because it will be your eternal spot, but because you're securing this period in appreciation. Open your palms in supplication and proclaim that you liberate whatever needs to be abandoned. Whether it's disorder, injury, remorse, or old behaviors that no longer pertain to the individual you're evolving into. Set aside instances each week to abstain, not to implore the Almighty for the fresh residence, but to harmonize your essence with His tone. Ask for wisdom, clarity, timing, and direction. Take out your journal and begin recording the impressions you receive in prayer, the dreams you've had, the verses that leap off the page because God is speaking, and your next step might already be sitting on the lines you almost forgot to write down. Take one small practical step that reflects your faith. Clean out a drawer. Give away something that ties you to the past. Start setting aside a seed fund, even if it's just coins in a jar. Not because your money will move heaven, but because your posture of faith invites God's flow of provision. Speak over your life each morning, I am not stuck, I am not forgotten, I am being moved by the hand of God. Speak over your children, you will grow up in peace, you will sleep in safety, you will live in the home heaven designed for you. Speak over your future address even before you know it. This ground will be holy, this roof will be a covering of love. This home will be where God's glory dwells. In your daily existence, commence observing the individual you encounter at the store, the telephone conversation that appears arbitrary, the residence advertisement that keeps resurfacing, the proposal that emerges from nowhere. These may be heavenly arrangements. The Almighty operates through what appears commonplace to produce the remarkable. Don't disregard minor alterations. He may be readying to relocate you with a murmur, not a shout. Safeguard your environment. Shield your optimism. When uncertainty attempts to infiltrate, recall yourself. He who pledged is loyal. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 23 encourages. When discouragement comes, worship louder. When nothing changes for weeks, thank Him as if it already did. Because heaven responds not just to need, but to faith. And your faith right now is positioning you for the miraculous. The truth is, this moment you're standing in, this in-between, is sacred. It's where roots are dug deep, where trust is refined, where your intimacy with God deepens like never before. Don't rush past it. Don't curse the delay. Instead, consecrate it. Make this season holy by how you live inside it. Turn it into an altar of expectancy. Let your home today be a place where praise is louder than frustration, where preparation outweighs fear, where faith rises every time doubt knocks. So now, as this word settles into your spirit, ask yourself, what would someone do if they knew a miracle was already on the way? Would they complain or prepare? Would they panic or pray? Would they wait idly or get their house? Their heart and their habits in order. You already know your answer. If this message resonated with you, if you felt the confirmation of heaven stirring something inside you, I invite you to respond not just privately, but publicly. Comment below with the words, "My house is coming." Let it be a declaration of faith, a testimony in motion, a signal to heaven that you are ready, you are listening, and you are moving forward. Before we begin this prayer, I want to invite you to quiet your mind, still your spirit, and enter into a posture of expectation. Whether you're standing in your kitchen, driving in your car, or laying in bed with tears on your pillow, this is a sacred moment. You didn't find this video by chance. God brought you here because He wants to speak directly to your heart. Confirm what you've been sensing in your spirit, and stir your faith for the move ahead. This is not just a prayer. It's a prophetic alignment, a spiritual unlocking. So breathe deep, open your hands, and let's enter into the presence of the Lord together. Father God, Creator of heaven and earth, we come before you now, not with fear, not with begging, but with boldness and surrender. You are holy, and we honor your name. You are sovereign, and we trust your plan. You are faithful, and we know you keep every promise you've ever made. Today, we align our hearts with heaven's blueprint. Today, we say yes to the move you've ordained. Lord, you see every heart listening right now. You see the weary mother praying for peace. The father is overwhelmed by responsibility. The single person questioning their purpose. The family barely held it together. You see the one living in a house that's no longer a home, where the atmosphere feels heavy, where conflict rises, where sleep rarely comes. And in your mercy, God, you've declared that change is coming. So right now, we lean into that promise. Father, we elevate every individual on the brink of shift you uttered in Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Lord, assist us to detect it. Eliminate every shroud of dread, every mist of bewilderment, every tone of uncertainty, and assist us to view the fresh thing you are accomplishing. Arouse insight in our essence. Permit us to detect when it's time to relocate. Permit us to identify your grasp when the entrance opens. We implore now, Holy Spirit, ready our cause for the fresh haven, not just the residence with barriers and openings, but the haven that bears your existence. Let us sense when it's time to move. Let us recognize your hand when the door opens. We ask now, Holy Spirit, prepare our hearts for the new home. Not just the house with walls and windows, but the home that carries your presence, the home where joy returns, where healing flows, where peace reigns. May it be a place set apart, consecrated ground, where children laugh again, where marriages are restored, where dreams are reborn, where your glory dwells without interruption. We advance against every other worldly task that has attempted to undermine this shift. In the designation of Jesus, we annul every domain essence that has attempted to keep us ensnared in spots you never meant for us to linger. We reprimand the essence of dread, the essence of shortage, the tone of postponement, the shackles of disgrace. We proclaim Psalm chapter 107 verse 14 over every listener. He brought them out of darkness and broke their chains in pieces. Father, break every invisible chain now. Chains of scarcity, trauma, discouragement, stagnation, and doubt. Lord, we surrender what needs to be left behind. We release old mindsets, old relationships, old grief, and emotional clutter. We let go of what no longer serves our purpose. As it says in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. God, help us let go with grace. Help us not to look back like Lot's wife. Help us move forward with faith like Abraham, who left without knowing where he was going, but trusted the one who called him. As you step boldly into the divine path God has set before you, leaving behind the old to embrace the new, know that the universe is not only guiding you, but fiercely protecting you. The first message illuminated your divine relocation, urging you to release what no longer serves your purpose and trust in the Creator's plan for your elevation. Now, this truth deepens as we explore the spiritual consequences faced by those who sought to hinder your journey through dark means, while God moves you toward your destined breakthrough. Those who attempted to curse your light find themselves bound by the very forces they misused, revealing the unshakable power of your divine protection. They didn't just betray you, chosen one. They wove their treachery into the intimacy of your closest bonds. Their ultimate deception came cloaked in warmth and familiarity. They didn't strike from afar, they held you near, gazed into your eyes, and pierced your soul with betrayal. This truth stings, not because it's false, but because it's painfully real. Those who hurt you weren't distant foes with obvious warnings, but the ones nearest, serving your meals, pouring your drinks, whispering sweet words while siphoning your spirit. The darkest curses don't always require rituals or incantations. They hide in everyday moments, soft tones, and tender embraces from those who harbored malice all along. Pause and reflect. Why did certain people leave you drained, even without harsh words or actions? Why did your drive fade in their presence? Why did your dreams dim, your passion wane, your purpose blur, while they seemed to flourish? The truth, chosen one, is brutal. They were never pouring into you. They were feeding off you. You weren't in a relationship. You were in a slow exorcism. Every touch, every meal, every comforting word was a disguise, a mask worn by energy vampires sent not just to distract you, but to consume you. Your exhaustion wasn't from work. Your confusion wasn't from stress. It was the result of spiritual parasites pretending to be companions, the same ones who cooked for you, slept beside you, called you love. They were draining your essence to fuel their own selfish rise. The universe saw it all. They spiked your meals not just with substances, but with intentions, with silent spells of control, with manipulative energies meant to make you docile, lost, and numb. You weren't being cared for. You were being captured. That's the ugly truth. This isn't paranoia. This is a pattern. How many times did you come home feeling like something was off, but couldn't explain it? How many moments did you doubt your own intuition, brushing off the chills crawling up your spine? Let's make something very clear. Real love energizes you. It elevates you. It awakens the fire inside you. If being around someone made you feel like you were dying slowly, they weren't your partner. They were your predator, chosen one. This is exactly why you're single. Not because you're unworthy, not because love passed you by, but because the universe yanked you away from poison disguised as passion. The dating pool you've been avoiding is filled with smiling assassins and well-dressed curses. Your isolation isn't punishment, it's protection. You didn't lose them, you escaped them. It's time you started seeing your solitude as a sanctuary, not a sentence. Because some of the most charming souls out there are wearing the skin of soulmates while carrying the hunger of demons. They don't want love, they want your light. They don't want to build with you, they want to build on you, on your pain, your energy, your gifts, your magic. And they'll do it quietly, patiently, until there's nothing left of you but the shell. Have you ever noticed how vibrant they became while you started shrinking? You lost weight, you lost joy, you lost time, and somehow they gained everything. That's not love, that's a transaction, and you were the currency. For those who are still with someone and hearing this, feeling that gut pull of truth deep inside, don't ignore it. Love should never make you feel spiritually bankrupt. If you have to sacrifice your peace just to keep someone close, then what you're in isn't a relationship. It's a slow spiritual death. This betrayal hurts more than anything because it was personal. It was intimate. It came wrapped in smiles and kind gestures. And that's what makes it so hard to believe. But the universe doesn't care about how long you've known someone or how loyal you've been. It cares about your energy, your purpose, your path. When someone threatens that, no matter how charming they look, the universe will remove them. No warnings, no delays. So the next time you feel tempted to go back to someone who drained you, remember this: they didn't change. They just got better at pretending. They're still feeding, still hunting. If you let them back in, they'll finish what they started. Some of these so-called perfect couples you envy online, they're not love stories, they're hostage situations. One person is glowing because they're devouring the light of the other. It's not balanced, it's spiritual theft. If the tables were turned, if you ever tried to match their energy or protect your own, they'd call you crazy, difficult, or cold. Because the moment you stop bleeding for them, they lose their power. This is why you're not with someone right now, because you were never meant to be a food source. You were never meant to be easy prey. The universe chose you. That protection comes with isolation, discomfort, and waiting, but it also comes with wisdom, freedom, and a love that doesn't feed on you, but feeds you. So stand tall in your singleness. Wear it like armor, because while others are tangled in fake love and spiritual traps, you're being preserved, prepared, protected. Your glow can't be dimmed anymore. The vampires have lost access. The poison has lost its place. The curse they tried to sneak into your food, your home, your bed, it now rots in their own space forever. Let this be your fuel. Chosen one, let the pain sharpen you. Let the betrayal purify you. Because the moment you woke up to the truth, the curse they tried to place on you bounced back. Now they're the ones looking in the mirror, slowly realizing that what they tried to destroy is now the only thing they can't reach. Their curse is eternal. Your freedom is too. They failed to breach your defenses. Chosen one, because the universe sealed the gate. You were never meant to be touched. They believed they cast you aside. But in truth, the cosmos concealed you beyond their toxic reach. Picture this. You cross paths with someone who seems flawless. Vibes align. Timing feels perfect. Laughter flows. Sparks ignite. Then, as swiftly as they appeared, they vanish without a trace. No reason, no closure. You're left questioning what you did wrong. But what if you did nothing wrong at all? What if that abrupt shift was divine safeguarding, not rejection? What if the universe sensed a danger you couldn't see and intervened? You've been spared from ruin more times than you'll ever know. Those moments you mistook for heartbreak were actually protective barriers in disguise. They didn't walk away because you were lacking. They left because they couldn't steal what you carry. Your essence, your spirit, your presence. It's sacred. The universe has woven an invisible shield around you, barring the wrong ones, no matter how alluring they appeared. Your rejection is often the universe's redirection away from danger into destiny. That's what the ones who tried to curse you can't stand. They watch you from the shadows. They perform rituals, send intentions, light their candles, hoping to pull you down, hoping to stop your progress. But nothing touches you. Nothing lands. It infuriates them. Why? Because you're the one who doesn't play dirty, and yet you still rise. You don't use manipulation. You don't tap into darkness. You don't force things to happen, yet your life still blooms. Your dreams still grow. You still move forward. They use spells. You use truth. They copy and mimic. You create and lead. They pretend. You simply exist. That alone is more powerful than anything they can summon. Now imagine there's two people trying to climb the same mountain. One uses shortcuts, cheats the climb, cuts corners, leaves behind debris. The other climbs with steady feet, clear purpose, and pure intention. When the storm comes, the cheater's path collapses. But yours, solid, protected, chosen, remains. That's how spiritual protection works. It's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it looks like a date getting cancelled, a friend turning distant, a job falling through. At first, it stings. It confuses you. But what you didn't see was the energy beneath the surface. That person had darkness wrapped around their aura. That opportunity was coated in manipulation. That door would have led straight to destruction. The universe slammed it shut hard before you could walk through. The universe doesn't always explain itself, but it always protects what's rare. You, chosen one, are rare. They know it. That's why they hate you without reason. That's why they try to sabotage what they didn't build. The ones casting spells, speaking curses, doing rituals in the dark. They've seen how naturally you shine. It threatens everything about them. You don't need to fake success. You don't need to seduce it with darkness. You manifest with intention, with love, with raw energy. That's why everything they try to create looks like a cheap imitation of your authentic glow. The more they watch you thrive, the more their envy grows, because you are proof that light doesn't need shadows to be powerful. You are the living contradiction to everything they believe. They say the only way to win is to manipulate. You say, I'll rise with truth. They say it's about control. You say it's about alignment. They used spells to fake what you were born with. Let's be real. They've tried everything. They played nice to get close. They flirted to gain your trust. They wore masks so you wouldn't see their true intentions. But every time, something stopped it. Something felt off. Something pulled you back. That something was the universe. Your spirit knows energy. It detects lies before your mind can explain them. That's why some people make your skin crawl even when they smile. That's why some situations made you feel sick, even when they seemed ideal. Your intuition isn't paranoia. It's precision, a built-in shield forged from lifetimes of experience and divine selection. Your spirit said no before your heart got the chance to say yes. That's protection. If you've been wondering why you keep meeting people who look perfect but feel wrong, it's because those connections weren't meant for you. They were tests, traps, disguises. You weren't ghosted, you were guarded. You weren't overlooked, you were hidden. Every rejection was a redirection to something far more aligned with your true frequency. Here's another truth. Some people were never meant to sit at your table because they were secretly trying to poison your plate. Some lovers only wanted access to your spirit so they could steal your light and sell it off as their own. That's why the universe stepped in. It didn't just close doors, it locked them, sealed them, and buried the keys deep in places those people will never reach. Now they're watching. They're confused. They're angry. They're desperate. Despite their rituals, their schemes, their manipulation, you're still rising. You're still glowing. The very forces they called upon have started to turn on them. Why? Because when you send out darkness with the wrong intent, that darkness always comes home eventually. Now they lit candles to curse you. Now they're burning in the very fire they created. You're free. Not because you escaped, but because you were never caught. So, chosen one, the next time you feel that sting of what could have been, remember this. It wasn't meant to be because it would have cost you everything. That job, that relationship, that friend group, that invitation, all of it was laced with energy that wasn't safe for your journey. If you had stepped through those doors, you wouldn't be standing where you are now. Your path is protected. Your energy is rare. Your presence is guarded not just by intuition, but by design. Let the spellcasters scream into the void. Let the jealous ones throw shade from the sidelines. Let the manipulators wonder why nothing works on you. The truth is simple. They tried to curse what the universe already claimed. That's a battle they'll never win. They coveted your destiny so fiercely. Chosen one, that they forced their way into the vault, only to discover it was guarded by a power they'll never comprehend. Imagine being observed not for your noise, but for your quiet radiance. Picture someone witnessing your ascent and, rather than celebrating it, scheming to hijack it. That's what they did. They analyzed your every step, imitated your flow, tried to replicate your spirit, believing they could claim your path and wear your future as their own. But they failed to see that your destiny isn't a garment to be stolen. It's woven into your very being. It can't be taken, can't be copied, can only be lived by you alone. No spell, no matter how cunning, can replicate a soul's unique imprint. They paid psychics to trace your energy. They tapped into your dreams, trying to hijack your visions. They watched from a distance, waiting to pounce on your next breakthrough. But the universe flipped the script every time they thought they had you figured out. The road shifted. Every time they thought they were a step ahead, they found themselves walking in circles, chasing a version of you that doesn't exist anymore. Because while they were trying to predict your next move, the universe was upgrading you in silence. Your energy doesn't follow a script. It evolves. It transforms. It ascends. They can't catch what's constantly rising. They practiced dark magic like it was a sport until they met you and got benched by the universe. They had a history of success, destroying others, leeching off the weak, faking alignment to steal what didn't belong to them. But then they targeted you, and suddenly their curses collapsed. Their masks slipped. Their power turned to dust. You weren't a new target. You were the end of their pattern, their final lesson. Now the world is waking up. Fake chosen ones are being exposed. Plastic lives wrapped in filters and fake energy are dissolving like illusions. Relationships built on manipulation are imploding. People are staring across dinner tables at partners they don't even recognize anymore, realizing they've been sleeping beside spiritual enemies wearing the skin of soulmates. You didn't fight to expose the truth. You just survived. That survival set off the chain reaction. You were the glitch in their curse, the soul they couldn't control, the light they couldn't dim. They underestimated the power of realness. Now every lie they've ever told is unraveling in front of the same audience they tried to impress. Because when you try to steal a chosen one's destiny, you don't just fail, you curse yourself forever. Every coin they spent to curse you, chosen one, turned into a deposit in your divine account, sealing their downfall while fueling your rise. They're now destitute in ways that matter most. Envision this. Someone despises you so deeply they pour their resources into your destruction, paying spellcasters to orchestrate your failure, lighting candles, chanting hexes, performing rituals with your name on their lips. Yet you begin to flourish, not just enduring, but thriving. New opportunities emerge, checks arrive, blessings cascade into your life like a torrent. They stand dumbfounded, unable to grasp how their attempts to ruin you became the catalyst for your radiance. They tried to buy your demise, but the universe redirected their payment, turning you into the beneficiary of their spiritual debt. This isn't chance, it's divine retribution at work. Each attack they launched became kindling for your victories. Every curse they uttered was rerouted, transformed into miracles, amplified by the very energy they meant to harm you with. The universe never wastes. It gathers energy like a treasurer. When negativity is aimed at a protected soul, it's reshaped into blessings. That's the cosmic rule. Spiritual karma with exponential returns. They spent fortunes to derail your path, but the universe converted their efforts into your stability. Refunds, gifts, unexpected aid, random checks. They meant to bury you. Instead, you blossomed. Their curses became seeds, your pain the fertile ground. And now you're a towering presence they never expected. Meanwhile, their own lives crumble, finances depleted, stability fractured, relationships cold and hollow. They wonder why chaos reigns. It's because they crossed the wrong one, the chosen one. They treated magic like a toy, blind to its consequences. Now they're mired in disorder, bills mounting, friends vanishing, success slipping away. The practitioners they hired now shrug, saying, "The spell worked, you just chose the wrong target." You, chosen one, are unlike the rest, shielded by an unseen grid of truth, purpose, and alignment. No curse can stick where clarity reigns. No hex can land where your frequency soars. Their attacks now chain their own spirits, pulling them into the pit they dug for you. You didn't just survive their sorcery. You turned it into prosperity. This isn't vengeance. It's cosmic order. It's what happens when someone toys with forces beyond their understanding, targeting a soul destined to soar, no matter how many times they seek reversals from their practitioners. It's futile. The cosmic law is in motion, consequences unstoppable. You stand tall, rising still, while they're haunted, not by spirits, but by the memory of their foolish choice to harm you. Divine justice isn't loud, it's inevitable. When the haze clears, chosen one, masks fall, and truth strikes like a bolt from the heavens. They thought their illusions would hold forever, but even deceptions crumble when light shines too brightly. Picture waking beside someone you believed was your haven, only to realize they were your saboteur. That's the awakening unfolding now. The fog is dissipating, spells are shattering, and clarity dawns after years of blindness. People gaze into the eyes of those they once cherished and see not love, not loyalty, but manipulation and decay hidden behind routine smiles. The universe tears away the veil, and no one can remain blind. There's a silent explosion happening in people's hearts right now. Marriages that once looked unbreakable are suddenly on the edge. Long-term relationships are collapsing overnight, not because people want drama, but because they can't pretend anymore. The awareness is too loud now. They remember who they used to be, driven, vibrant, full of purpose, and compare it to who they've become: tired, lost, drained, stuck. That's not love. That's entrapment. They're connecting the dots, the ambition they lost, the energy that disappeared, the friendships they were pushed to abandon. It all leads back to that one person who claimed to love them while spiritually feeding on their light. They weren't your partner. They were your prison. Chosen one. You've been wondering why real love hasn't shown up yet, even after all your growth, all your healing. The universe didn't forget you. It hid you. It hid you from false unions so you wouldn't get entangled in someone else's illusion. You were protected from half-loves and hollow partnerships because your real connection is still in process. Waking up, cutting cords, healing wounds just like you did. When you meet, it will all make sense. It won't feel like a spark. It will feel like a homecoming. A deep exhale, a quiet knowing, after years of being surrounded by people who just wanted your energy. You'll finally connect with someone who sees your soul and has no intention of draining it. While all of this unfolds, something else is happening behind the scenes. Your financial energy is erupting. Why? Because every death spell they sent to kill your money didn't just fail. It backfired. Every ritual, every intention, every word spoken to block your abundance got caught in the universe's justice system and flipped. Now your money is protected like a fortress. Now it multiplies faster than before. Now it flows because of their attacks. They tried to bankrupt you spiritually and accidentally triggered your breakthrough instead. The people who once laughed while trying to curse your name. They're quiet now, watching, broke, alone, confused, because the same universe they tried to manipulate is now refusing to let them near what they thought they'd stolen. Their spells created your shields. Their curses built your currency. Their games woke up an entire generation of souls who now refuse to stay asleep. This is the awakening, and it cannot be stopped. Powerful figures, wealthy, connected, influential, thought they could crush you like an insect. Chosen one. But your resilience turned their schemes into their own curse. They believed their status could silence your ascent, whispering hexes in elite circles, weaving spells in secret, spending whatever it took to break your spirit. But they overlooked a fundamental truth: wealth can't sway the cosmos, and power can't bend universal law. Some forces remain untouchable by money, and they learned this the hard way. They hurled obstacles at you, yet you crafted an empire from their debris. Each move against you strengthened you. Closed doors didn't halt you. They redirected you. Betrayals didn't shatter you. They revealed who didn't belong in your circle. The isolation they imposed didn't weaken you. It became your training ground. Every attack forged a lesson. Every loss sharpened your focus. Every setback toughened your resolve. They aimed to diminish you. Instead, they made you unbreakable. You were their target, but now you're their mirror, reflecting everything they couldn't destroy. Their actions handed you a wisdom they could never grasp. You learned to spot deceit without a word, to walk solo without losing stride, to stop seeking validation, dimming your light, or justifying your strength. You became the force they feared would awaken. Now, unshaken and self-forged, you stand as they feel their scheme's curse settle like a relentless shadow. Their wealth fades. Their influence wanes. Their reputation falters. The universe they tried to weaponize now uses you to prove no attack prospers against the chosen. Every spell they sent returns to them, marked for recoil. They thought they were scripting your end, but they sparked your genesis. Their curse isn't fleeting, it's eternal, not because you wished it, but because their own malice boomeranged with unbreakable force. They played with cosmic fire and burned their legacy. The tables haven't just turned, they've overturned, and the world will see your rise as they sink in the darkness they summoned. They tried to end you, chosen one. But now the universe will make your name unforgettable, etching it into the annals of history. Your breakthrough isn't merely approaching, it's crashing in with a force so powerful it will silence every doubter's whisper. This won't be a subtle victory. It will be a triumph so radiant it forces people to rethink all they know about energy, karma, and cosmic justice. You're not just rising, you're erupting when it happens. Those who mocked your struggles will be speechless under the brilliance of your ascent. They laughed as you stumbled. Now, they'll watch as the universe crowns you a legend. Everything they did to break you was actually preparation. The setbacks weren't delays, they were alignment. The betrayals weren't curses, they were divine removals. Now nothing stands between you and the reality the universe always intended for you. The love you've been waiting for. It's already being prepared. Your divine partner is awakening just like you did, cutting toxic cords, healing from illusions, and rising to meet you in wholeness. Your soul family is being rearranged in perfect time. The fake ones are gone, and the real ones are coming. People who don't compete with your light, but protect it. Those creative visions. They're about to explode, not just with visibility, but with influence, impact, and success beyond what you imagined. The same ideas they tried to steal. The world will watch them manifest through you with such clarity that no one can deny where the brilliance came from. Because your creativity isn't something they can clone. It comes from your soul, and that can't be stolen. They tried to silence your voice. Now it echoes in places they'll never reach. The wealth. Oh, chosen one. It's not trickling in, it's flooding. Not just enough to get by. This is the kind of abundance that changes lives, yours and others. Financial freedom, business expansion, generational wealth. The best part, the energy they spent trying to block your abundance. That currency has been rerouted into your spiritual vault, now overflowing. While you rise, they fall. No, it's not temporary. The curse they placed on you reversed the moment they sent it. Now it clings to them. It has its own legs, its own momentum, and it will follow them until the lesson is learned, even if it takes lifetimes. Some will come crawling back with apologies, with regret, but it's too late. The energy's already been stamped. The universe has already written the ending. You won't even need to lift a finger. The best revenge is no revenge. Just live so loud their curses drown in your success. You were never meant to seek revenge. You are meant to rise so high that your story becomes a warning, a sacred legend, a living example of what happens when someone tries to curse a soul the universe protects. Now, chosen one, that's exactly who you are. Keep building, keep rising, because the world is about to witness a transformation so powerful no one will ever forget your name. They didn't just want you silenced. Chosen one. They wanted your very existence erased, but now their world crumbles under the resonance of your name. They sought to snuff out your spirit, your influence, your legacy, hoping to erase your impact, mute your truth, and block your leadership. Yet the universe had greater plans. Your name now rises in spaces they'll never enter. Your voice echoes in circles they can't touch. And your message, the one they scorned and tried to suppress, shakes the foundations of their deceitful world. They aim to make you forgotten. Instead, your presence fractures their fragile illusions. Picture this: you move quietly along your path, healing, growing, radiating light, and suddenly your name surfaces in rooms you've never visited. Strangers draw inspiration from your essence. Your influence spreads without effort, without promotion, simply because of who you are. Now imagine their perspective. Watching this unfold, the fury, the bewilderment. How does someone they tried to destroy shine so brightly they lurk in the shadows, using fake accounts, mutual connections, and gossip to track you, hoping for signs of failure? Instead, they learn you're thriving, building, glowing as if their attacks never touched you. What stings them most? You didn't fight back. You didn't need to. Your radiance outshone their curses, your ascent a sound they can't mute, no matter how far they flee. You see, chosen one. Their plan was never just to block your blessings, it was to remove you from memory. But the universe amplified your presence instead. Now, every success you achieve sends ripples through their lives. Each milestone is a reminder of their failure, not just once, but forever. They hear your name in songs that hit too close. See your energy in those who admire what they tried to dim. Stumble upon your words and wisdom in unexpected places. They can't escape your light, no matter how they try. The harsh truth, they mistook your silence for weakness, but it was strength gathering force. Now, activated. It's collapsing their world under the weight of your existence. You didn't need vengeance. The universe turned your name into a tempest. They dwell in its ruins. Keep speaking, keep rising, chosen one. For your voice is no longer just yours. It's justice in motion, a sound too powerful to silence, a truth too vivid to erase. You were the final lesson they never wanted, and the curse they can't escape. They picked the wrong one, and now they're stuck in a class they'll never graduate from. Chosen one. Understand this. They've done this before. You weren't their first target. They've built a pattern around destruction, draining others, manipulating energy, playing with spiritual forces to climb higher by stepping on other people's light. They've whispered curses behind smiling faces. They've worn masks and called it charm. They've ruined good people for sport and gotten away with it until they touched you, because you weren't just another victim. You were the final test, the one soul they never should have played with. When they crossed that invisible line, the one guarded by universal law, they didn't just trigger karma. They activated a curse that's going to follow them through this lifetime and the next. You were never the revenge. You were the consequence. Imagine a person who's been cheating fate for years, dodging justice, hiding behind wealth, charm, spiritual tricks. Then one day they meet someone with a frequency too high to manipulate, too aligned to infiltrate, and they think, just another soul to break. So they do what they always do, throw spells, drain energy, send attacks, but this time, everything goes wrong. Their health starts declining, their finances unravel, their influence weakens. People begin to turn away, not knowing why, only sensing something is off. Their luck gone, their clarity blurred, their power disappearing by the day, because the moment they aimed their darkness at you, they triggered a spiritual trap. You didn't curse them. You revealed the curse already living inside them. Now it's active. You were their mirror, and they hated what they saw so much they tried to break the glass. Now they're bleeding from the shards. They thought they were getting ahead, but what they actually did was sign up for a lifelong lesson. A punishment so deep no practitioner can undo it. No apology, no ritual, no repentance can stop what's coming. Because this isn't about bad luck, it's about cosmic law. You were the end of their cycle. The soul that forced a reckoning, all the pain they sent to others has now come full circle. You stood tall, you took the hit, you passed the test they didn't even know they were being given. They saw a target. The universe saw a trap. Now they're stuck inside it with no way out. Let them scramble, let them try to undo it. It's too late. They messed with someone who was chosen not just for protection, but for activation. Now they know you weren't a victim. You were the curse they called on themselves. A living lesson they'll never forget. The universe isn't merely shielding you, chosen one. It's wielding you as a blade of truth, slicing through the falsehoods they built. You've transcended survival to become a beacon, disrupting every illusion they fought to uphold. Your rise doesn't just heal you, it shakes foundations, awakens souls, and exposes every deceiver who thought they could escape justice. Your mere presence challenges lies. Your light reveals hidden shadows, and those who once mocked you now shrink from your radiance. For standing near you forces them to face their true selves. The universe isn't just guarding you, it's using you as a signal, a testament, a warning. You embody the triumph of truth, the honesty of energy, the fleeting nature of darkness. They tried to mute you, but your existence now roars with every step you take. The universe declares this chosen one isn't just safe, they're armed with purpose, clarity, and unyielding truth. So, chosen one, as the dust settles and truth stands tall, know this: you were never the victim. You were the spark that exposed their darkness, leading others to awaken, rise, and reclaim their power. If this resonates in your spirit, like, subscribe, and drop 1111 in the comments to affirm your truth. Share this with someone who needs the reminder. The chosen always rise.